So good morning, everybody. Welcome to Brentwood, California. We're in the beautiful home of Vanya Rona. Thank you very much, Vanya, for inviting me. And Patricia, my name is Etan Boritzer. I am the publisher of Veronica Lane Books. And this very, very great book that we've just published and brought out of Patricia. This is Patricia Eltinge. She's a dream analyst and a transactional analyst and a very intelligent woman in many ways. So today we're going to be speaking about the book and about Patricia's work, but I just want to, before we start, acknowledge that we have a very special guest in our audience today, and that is Dr. Pat Allen. And Dr. Allen is the longtime friend and mentor of Patricia, 25 years of mentoring and communicating with each other and working with each other. So thank you very much for being here today, Dr. Allen.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Great. So, Patricia, we're going to start at the deep end of the pool, if that's okay. Yes. We're going to start at the introduction. And in your introduction, you mentioned that you had a traumatic experience as a young girl, 5 or 6 years old, and that is one of the factors that led you to studying dreams and understanding the importance of dreams. So can you talk a little bit about that experience?
Well, like he said, we're jumping right into the deep end. Yes, when I was 5 years old, I was kidnapped and molested and survived it by the grace of God and the voices that came to me that scared the kidnapper away. Well, the police found me and I was intact, but, you know, I would say rattled for many years, but didn't say anything, and then it disappeared out of my mind, out of my consciousness, and it went to my unconscious. So over the years, from childhood to through teens, and then finally in my 20s when I was seeking why I had these repetitive dreams, which then I called nightmares, and many people called dreams, some dreams bad or nightmarish dreams. So I went to try to resolve those issues and my other fears in life, and led me to studying my further studies in psychology, spiritual personal growth, and then found the Want Institute, where I went into my continuing education, and where Dr. Allen told me I was gifted, and did follow her advice and got deeper into dream interpretation and became a transactional analyst. So from there,
here we are. Well, if you don't mind revealing a little bit more, can you talk about that particular dream and maybe even give us a little dream interpretation as you remember that particular recurring childhood dream?
There was the recurring dream through childhood that was a scary witch, old witch with the word on the nose, the classic witch figure chasing me, and I was running away until I could finally lift off the ground and take off and fly away and get away from this. Oh, the witch also had a broom and was chasing me with the broom sticking out. So that was a frightening dream to me. My mother would comfort me over the years and say, "Oh, you'll be okay, you'll be fine, just go back to sleep."
So if a young lady came to you today, or a young woman came to you today with that kind of a dream, can you kind of break it down for us a little bit symbolically, what the different symbols and images?
Well, we'll jump right into our way of teaching dream interpretation. This isn't exactly a workshop that I teach and that we teach, but an overview of things we talk about in the book, the dream class. And in that dream, if somebody came to me and said, "Oh, there's a scary old witch chasing me," well, a scary old witch is actually a male image. It's the masculine depicted in the feminine. So that's the crux of our work, is the balancing of energies of masculine and feminine. And there is a paradox of male figures and female figures actually representing the opposite. So in this dream, just as that is the overview, in this dream, this witch is a thought. The masculine side of life is thinking, doing, and your ideas and your thoughts. So these are scary thoughts. Scary thoughts had been following me around for decades, and trying to get away from scary thoughts. And the way of getting away from the scary thoughts and ideas was to get off the ground. Grounding is feminine into your feelings. Being up in the air is masculine in your head. So the way me as a little girl got away from bad feelings due to the scary thoughts was to go up into my head and think my way out of things. So
Well, you touch right on one of the most unique aspects of your teachings and what you talk about in the book, and that is a little difficult to understand, which is this paradox of the male and the female appearing in the dreams, and how that relates to your very unique way of the yin-yang and what you got out of Emma Jung's teachings. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, we did springboard off of Emma Jung's book based on Anima and Animus was her work, and this was Carl Jung's wife who did the Anima Animus discussions. But then Pat's work was to springboard off of that, and we bring in all of the ancient cultures too, and the Chinese were eons before the Jungs were talking about the energies of masculine and feminine energies. So in every male there's a female, in every female there's a male. So when you're in the dream world, in your unconscious, the male figures actually represent the feminine, and the female figures represent the masculine sides of our lives.
Right, and one of the things that you talk about is the symbol, the YinYang symbol itself, the complementary black and white symbol, the Taichu,
yes,
as it's called.
Some of you may know the symbol of the yin-yang, which is the white image and the black image. So we have the yin is the feminine, and the yang, which is the masculine, and within those you have the opposing energy. So within that male symbol, the female yin symbol, you have the male white dot, and within that male portion you've got the black dot of the feminine. So, and in life, in every man, the soul of a man is feminine and the soul of a woman is masculine. So we all carry both.
So it's interesting, on the black side, which you say is the yin, the feminine side, the white side. So how does that is the masculine side? To me, it seems, as a Westerner, it seems counterintuitive. Why would the black represent the female and the white represent male?
Because all matter comes from the darkness, and that's matter. And energy, pure energy, is white.
So you're saying the white is the masculine is the energy?
Energy, the doing, going for it forces, and the black is the feminine, receptive, birthing place of everything.
That sort of relates to what the astrophysicists are telling us too. 85% of the known universe is what they call dark energy, and they really don't know what it is. And that's,
the Chinese knew about this long before
okay. And so masculine energies, how do you represent masculine energies? If a male, let's say, okay, let's start this way. If a female appears, you're saying that should be...
That represents your thinking, your ideas, your doing, action.
More masculine traits.
Yes.
And if a man appears in my dreams...
It represents the other dot inside the color, which is the feminine.
And the feminine aspects of...
Is receptivity, feeling, physical feeling centeredness. So it's here, whereas the masculine is here.
So, I mean, that to me is very unique. I've studied dreams also in different psychologies of dreams. I have never, except for your book, seen, and Dr. Allen's work, seen that ancient use of the yin-yang, the black-white, male-female, and then bringing in the anima-animus of the Jungian, which you call the paradox, the Jungian.
And take it, we springboard off of that and expand on it. And distill it so that it's very understandable.
Yeah. It's understandable, but it's still difficult. It's, to me, counterintuitive. If you're dreaming of a witch, but that's actually a male figure.
But it fits so perfectly when you start reading dreams. It just comes, the clarity is obvious when you start understanding and reading dreams.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the really intriguing and kind of difficult to grasp aspects of the book. Now, speaking of that, you're going into the yin-yang, which is, of course, ancient technology also, but in your book you also talk about colors, not only black and white, but you talk about chakras and the colors of the chakras and what it means to dream in various colors. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, colors are meaningful in dreams, and we have a chakra specialist here today, my friend John McCarthy, and we do acknowledge another ancient system of representation of thoughts and feelings, and that is in the chakra system of colors, and how we happen to have a depiction here of what areas they represent and the systems.
Can you go through that for us a little bit? What
Right.
the colors mean, and
So
the
if
chakras?
something is red in a dream, well, we start with this, but then it's individual as well. So we ask a person what something means to them. It may have a particular meaning, but these are archetypal images. So in the red in a dream would be the root chakra. That's your basic trust and survival, your survival instincts. And if orange comes into play, it's your creativity, your sexuality and your creativity moving up the ladder. Your yellow would be your solar plexus, your power source, your wisdom. You're moving up the ladder again. Your heart chakra is green, so something in green might represent something to do with your feelings of love and compassion. Then we move up to blue in the throat chakra, communication. So we often something is blue in a dream, but not always anyway, because there are personal, like again I said, individual associations. Then there's indigo. Indigo is awareness. Indigo is here. And then the crown chakra is spirituality, and it's violet. So those are archetypal colors, and then within the archetypal colors, there's individual associations with colors. Maybe you see a yellow house in your dream, but maybe your grandmother had a yellow house. So there's a personal association with that. So this is communication with the dreamer too. What does that mean for you? But then we can incorporate the archetypal colors as well.
So it's interesting how you're touching on archetype, which is a Jungian word, of course, and archetype, as I understand it, is well, there's so many meanings. I mean, there's volumes that Jung wrote on archetype too, but it's maybe you could call it the general story about a dog or the general story about a mother that we all carry around with us. But in your interpretation, you're saying that you will take both the archetype and the individual relationship. Can you talk about how that plays in your interpretation?
Yeah, well, for instance, okay, we had some guests today outside petting the Mr. Kitty. Some people love kitty cats and just love the idea of a cat, will love petting a cat. Somebody else might be allergic to cats and is horribly afraid of cats. So the image in a dream, if a cat appears in a dream, to one person, it might be bad feelings for them or something scary that's toxic to them because they're allergic. But the other person says, oh, I'm so comforted when I'm around cats. So we have to take the individual into consideration and discuss it with them, what their personal associations are.
Back to the archetype, for instance, cats, the feline aspect. How you've told me some things about that, how there's some contradictions. Let's say if someone would be dreaming of a lion or a tiger, can you talk about how that kind of archetype works?
Feline images are usually feminine images, represent the feminine side of life. Again, the feeling-centeredness and physical feeling-centeredness. But large cats are an anomaly because large cats, such as lions and tigers, are very androgynous because they carry male characteristics. They're hunters, they're aggressive, they can kill you. So these are you have to understand the anomalies within the system too.
Between the archetype and the individual's
and
particular...
the anomalies within the system, which are some animal. We dream in terms of people, nature, and things hierarchically. So when we're closer to coming to consciousness in our dreams, we will be dreaming of people. We're ready to get a message that's being delivered to us. We start at the bottom when there's just starting to bubble through, trying to give us messages at things. So it goes things, nature, people. Nature is the next level before people, before coming to consciousness.
So if I dream, for instance, I'm sitting on an orange chair on the deck of a ship, right? So can you work with me a little bit on that? Because a chair is a thing.
A chair
right?
is a thing.
And I'm on the ocean, which is a nature aspect.
That's nature.
And maybe there's no people around, though.
Well, let's start with another overview. Let's start with everything, everything in your dreams is an aspect of yourself. So, that being said, when you're on an ocean, well, ocean and orange kind of go together because orange is your sexuality and your creativity. And men create off of their feminine, women create off of their masculine. So you're in an orange chair, you're a man, let's say. You are
dreaming myself,
yeah. So you're having some creativity come up for you, and you're also, I asked the person too, how is the ocean? Is the ocean rough or is the ocean calm? Are you standing off from the ocean, or are you feeling like jumping into the ocean? The ocean can represent your relationship side of life, and more often people have some form of relationship to water images in their dreams because of that's to do with their relationships.
Well, just continuing in that vein, I wanted to talk about something else too, but water, as you've explained to me too, because in psychology, the unconscious is represented in so many ways, but water is one of the biggest archetypal.
It is. Everything in your dreams comes from your unconscious, so everything in your dreams is the unconscious. But water images can come in terms of the ocean, rivers, waterfalls, a swimming pool, a dripping sink, a frozen pond. So they're all forms of water, and that will give you a reading, a status of where your relationship is at.
Okay, let's pull back a little bit, because one of the biggest things you hear, I'm sure, is, I don't remember my dreams. I don't think I dream, you know. So when you hear that, what does that tell you about the person, or what could be the reason why people say that or don't? You know, do all people dream? Can you talk about that, please?
Yes. First of all, I hear that at every workshop and every class that we give, and it's just that people need to learn how to dream. And we talk about that in the book, on how to capture your dreams. But everyone dreams, animals dream, everything, every living creature dreams.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things you've talked about in the book, which is that people who take drugs or people who drink too much alcohol then will either block their dreams or will not be conscious of their dreams. Can you talk about that?
Well, yes, mind-altering chemicals in all forms, even overeating sugar, let's say. Anything that's going to be mind-altering to the brain is going to impair your ability to dream and your ability to remember your dreams and your ability to even get quality sleep so that you can dream and process what you need to process. Our brains are always, our brain and our mind, I'm separating the physical from the thought, the energy, which is processing and distilling for us so that we can have an understanding of how we are perceiving and relating to our waking life.
So if I may put an interpretation on, to me, if someone says, I don't dream, you know, and maybe it's because of the alcohol or whatever substance they've taken, to me, I interpret it as that I don't want to dream, you know, which to me interprets as there's something in the dreams that I don't want to know.
First of all, I would say right now, there are no bad dreams. Thank you, I'm quoting Dr. Allen. There are no bad dreams, just scary images. And from there, once I have people realize that our dreams all wish us well, and there's a process that your mind and your unconscious is trying to distill for you and bubble up to your conscious mind so that you can apply tools that you later on that you can learn, that we teach, to fulfill your potential in life.
So all dreams wish us well. There are no, what did you say, scary?
There are no bad dreams, just scary images.
Scary images. So, all right, I'm going to accept this now. I'm going to try to remember my dream tonight. So what should I do?
Well, this is what a takeaway for everybody here today. The takeaway is we have a state, first of all, there's a state of consciousness called the Lyman State, between sleeping and waking and sleeping. So before we go to sleep, we set this Lyman state saying that we want to remember our dream. Just the simplest thing. I will remember my dream. You keep a pad by your bed, pen or a recording device, and tell yourself in the morning, no matter what happens, I'm going to keep my eyes closed for this 3 to 4 minute period that's all it lasts when you're upon waking, this 3 to 4 minute period where you still remember your dream. You can see the symbols, you know what's happening. As soon as you open your eyes, gone. But you scribble it down or talk into your recording device, and oh, there was a cat. Oh, there was an old car. Okay, maybe you only saw 2 things that night, waking up that day. You scribble it down, doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be in order. You can tie a little story together later if you want. But start with one image at a time. Write down one thing you saw, you recall. and then it builds. This is how we train ourselves to build upon our ability to capture and remember our dreams.
Yeah, now there are books out there like dream dictionaries, like 6,000 symbols of your dreams. And you've covered a few in very general, the categories more archetypal, but also specific, as you've said, things, nature, and people. So should we use those dream dictionaries? I mean, are they useful, do you think?
Well, some of them can be if you relate to those images, but we have several of these type of archetypal images in the book, but it's mainly how you relate to something in particular. But there are, like I said, we start with the people, nature, and things, and then we start with certain overall feline are feminine, overall cars are masculine, overall, generally speaking, and then within those things, nature and people, we converse and find out what your personal association is with those things.
Mm-hmm. Well, all right, so no more excuses about not capturing your dreams or I don't dream. So I wanted to mention also the book, maybe the last third of the book even, you have case studies, which is fascinating to read what the dream means and how Patricia has been able to break down the dreams. Without using anybody's names, but there's one client who you've told me you've seen amazing progress with through the dreams being useful to him in the business world and so on.
Yeah, I have a very willing client who has done a lot of personal growth work himself before coming to me with his dreams, but it's fascinating over the last few years to see him how the feedback I get on how his dreams have helped him in his business life, his romantic life, and even to the point where some of his business partners and relatives who are in business with him say they think he's psychic, and all of a sudden they think he's psychic. Well, he's just gotten in touch with his unconscious, and he's in touch with and being able to trust what he knows that he didn't trust before. It was always there, but now he's able to access it, and his life is flourishing because of it.
So would you say there are prescient dreams or there are prophetic dreams, or would that fit into that category of what that client is?
No, that's not prophetic. It's just he's accessing what he already senses. He's able to access what he's sensing in life. He's connecting the dots from his unconscious perceptions to the conscious waking life.
So it's would you say a process of expanding awareness?
It's totally a process
that the
of
dream
expanding awareness.
is helping us in that way.
It's basically developing our sixth sense.
And you discuss various types of dreams, which we don't have to go into right now in the books, but I believe
I might just use
yes,
one. There have been, it's rare, but on the rare occasion, yes, there are prophetic dreams, but that's not the norm, and they read differently. I can tell and I can read them, and it's not the norm.
Well, just to stay on that, then you've told me, I think, one or two prophetic dreams you've had also. Do you recall any of those? I don't recall them exactly.
Awakened in the middle of the night with my name being screamed.
Okay.
So bouncing out of bed. What? And it was an awareness again, but it was not just prophetic, but maybe it was my unconscious that knew what it knew anyway. But when I'm in the state of deep sleep and allowing myself to be free of daily life, it's able to surface and tell me, watch out, there's trouble in River City. And anyway, that was to do with...
Do you want to share what that has to do? If it's too personal, you don't have to, but...
we're all friends. Yes, my former husband was on a vacation with a lover, but somehow, I didn't know he was, but it came to me in my sleep. So that was, you can call it prophetic, or you can call it what I teach, is that you're accessing your unconscious.
And now another aspect that you talk about dreams that I found is different than other books I've read is related to lucid dreaming, because there are athletes that say they use lucid dreaming, and that they improve performance and so on. But it seems that you're, I wouldn't say against it, but
not for that purpose. For that purpose, right?
There's a certain caution about that you talk about with lucid dreaming.
Yeah, lucid dreaming is terrific as far as if you know that you're dreaming when you're dreaming. If you're sleeping and dreaming and you know, I'm dreaming this, but you're allowing it to unfold as if you're watching a movie. You're in the movie and you're watching the movie at the same time. And yes, athletic performance or performances, stage performances, will utilize that so that it goes well. I'm a former athlete myself, and I did use that system. But what was most valuable for my personal growth and for teaching other people to enhance their personal growth is to allow the movie to unfold and see what messages it has to offer you.
Well, while you're speaking, I have a friend. She says that she dreams these very vivid Technicolor dreams every night. She can't wait to go to sleep because of the new adventure. But she doesn't seem to be very spiritually inclined, meaning, about her own evolution and so on. So what do you say to, I don't know if she would come to you, but what do you say about someone who
she
just
has a right to have a party at night in her dreams? Everyone has not everybody is into personal growth, so she has a right to just enjoy her dreams. And I might say that her unconscious is working for her whether she knows it or not. But once we start understanding our dreams and trying to work out the glitches and work out the things that when we connect the dots from our dream life to our waking life and see where we can improve in our daily lives, we can just expedite our, from point A to point B in a straighter line to actualization and reaching our full potential.
So along the lines of just anything goes in your dreams, right? Which I think you're preaching also.
Anything
goes. Don't try to control it. You mention cases, for instance, of someone who's an alcohol addict or someone who's in recovery. Okay, and that person now has a dream where they're at a bar and they're drinking and having fun, but they haven't drank for 20 years. So how do you relate a dream like that?
Well, some of my clients, our clients, are sober, and they feel guilty if they have a dream where they're using or drinking, and we tell them it's a free party. It doesn't mean you're going to leap off the wagon at all. It just means you've had some stress in your life, and that's a memory of how you used to deal with your stresses. So it's just a free party, period. That's another quote from Dr. Allen.
Well, if I may just, on a personal level, I don't consider it too embarrassing. I'm a straight man. But I've had dreams where I've had homosexual encounters, and I don't have any attraction physically or in that way, erotically, to men. So am I having a free party? What am I? What am I?
I wouldn't say that's a free party. But what that is, you're incorporating your feminine. You're actually owning your own feminine side because of what I said before. If anyone was paying attention, the male images in dreams are the feminine aspect. So you are coming to terms and owning your own feminine aspects.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that makes me feel better. Thank you. Not that there's anything wrong
and
with
these dreams apply
to
these dream readings apply, these interpretations and apply to gay, straight, lesbian, across the board.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, great. We're going to, we've covered a lot, but there's a lot more in the book. There's so much more detail, and also Patricia's photographs are in the book as well. She's a wonderful, very sensitive artist, and so there's 22 photographs of her work in the book as well. What we would like to do is take another maybe 10 minutes. If you have questions, or are you open to taking a dream even?
Sure.
Okay. A recent dream anyone's had, or a recurring dream, or even an embarrassing dream, if you want to share, or just a general question.
You opened something up to me today about flying, because when I was a little girl, probably around 5 or 6, I used to have a recurring dream where I was in floaty, for the pool, but I was above ground with this floaty. I haven't thought about this in 40 years, maybe more than that, and you're telling your story,
Yes.
about
Being a little girls often, when I don't know the rest of your story, but I would imagine that there were things happened in your life that were not comfortable.
Yes.
And the way sometimes little girls then move into their masculine, they go up into their head to think their way through life because the feelings are too uncomfortable and scary. And then and that later then colors your behavior throughout life until you work this stuff out.
Yeah, it's interesting because there were a lot of colors that this plastic floaty was made from. It was like a beach ball. So I grew up in Southern California, and in the sun and the ocean, and I love water, and I guess that very interesting.
Okay.
We have a question from Mr. Baker.
A couple of questions. So earlier you had mentioned you became, was it a
Transactional analyst.
And, what did that entail? Did you go to school for that? Or
Yes, actually I went to studied at the Want Institute where I did my continuing education, and Dr. Allen is the director of the Want Institute.
And what is that exactly? What is a transactional analyst?
We use words. We depend on manipulating words and analyzing the usage of language to get to our communication, correct our communication in order to change our brains. Because if you can change your words, you can change your brain.
Okay, and also then, how did you learn the things that you've been telling us today? Where did that education come from?
It came, again, I studied with Dr. Allen's big foot in my rear for many years, telling me that I had a gift. Did this work for myself for many years, from 25 years. And she said, "You are extremely gifted. I not only encourage you, but I implore you to continue this work to help others."
Thank you.
Anybody else? Another question? Yes.
So, probably 5, 6, 7 in that age bracket. For many, many nights and maybe years, I dreamed the same dream. Dinosaurs. And sometimes I'm observing them running by, and we were raised learning about dinosaurs in our generation, so that didn't bother me. It was just, why dinosaurs? And it's in the desert, clearly Palm Springs-y, deserty. And sometimes I'm running from them, and sometimes I'm observing. So, fast forward now, grown up, and meeting you, and the whole dream thing has got me very, very curious. And now I'm not exactly dreaming about dreams, but I'll get a vision, just a quick vision of a dinosaur or my observing or running.
Well, dinosaurs, as we know, are ancient creatures, and they're, I would say they're more masculine. They're large. We talk about animals in our dreams. If they're large, they're typically more masculine animals. Horses are masculine, so they're large. So So you had always from childhood, you had a strong masculine side to you, and you owned it. You owned it, and I imagine that you were able to live it out and incorporate your masculine side in your life.
If I may also add, because Vanya is a friend of yours,
She's never told. I don't know this, by the way.
No, I understand. My question is, when you have a friend or you know someone, you're familiar with that person, and that person comes to you with a dream, and you may have a psychological insight based on knowing their circumstances, would you act as a psychotherapist at that point, or how would you knowing what she has gone through circumstantially, etc., how would you?
Well, I'm extremely intuitive and instinctive, both. I'm very androgynous myself, so I do have, from doing this work, I've become also an intuitive, so I can read things quicker than the average person.
But if you were to see something actual, knowing recent history of the person,
well, I can get to it even quicker.
Yes, but would you lead them to saying, well, this obviously represents this from what just happened to you last month and what's been happening to you?
I would ask them if they could relate that to that. I said, would this possibly relate? Or I would say, what happened to you in recent days or weeks or months that you could relate that interpretation of your masculine being large.
Yeah, because I would think that some things intuitively you would know, but then would you be overstepping your boundaries? Or if it's someone you don't know, is the dream reveals itself immediately to the waking state circumstances?
Usually,
or how does
that's why if people are open to sharing what's been going on in their lives, then we can start connecting the dots right away. But until they get in practice of connecting the dream life to the waking life, that takes practice. It takes practice with guidance.
Great. Let's take one more question. Anybody?
Yes.
John?
A recent dream interpretation. Okay, I'm a massage therapist, and in my dream, I go to give Harrison Ford, the actor, a massage. So I come into the house, he goes to lay down on his bed, and he's fully dressed. And so I get set up, and I said, I'm ready for your session. And he gets up, and he says, well, what do I need to do? And I said, well, just undress, get under the sheet, and I'll give you your massage. And he got very defensive. He said, I'm not getting undressed. I don't want this massage. And I said, I understand, that's okay. I can't give you a massage I can't put oil over clothes and give you a satisfactory massage, so we'll just have to cancel, and I'd like you to pay for the session. I'm not paying for something I didn't get, he says. And so before I have a chance to talk to him, he suddenly is blending in with all these people, say in New York City. And so I want to confront him, but I can't get to him. And so he disappears. I'm walking through throngs of people, very determined. I will find him. I will find him. I'm looking at every face. And then I'm back at his house, and he has his back turned towards me, and this isn't very nice, but I take a shank pin and I'm going to go stick him in the shoulder. But instead, I pulled the point back and I just stuck my thumb in his shoulder, but told him I had stuck him with a pin. Anyway, the next thing you know, he's sitting down and I'm telling him, you need to understand I have 42 years of experience and you have to respect that. And so we got onto this. He respected me. He never did pay me. I never got money in the dream, but I felt respect. And then he wanted me to apologize. And he said, and I said, and I'm sorry for sticking you with the pen. And that was the end of the dream.
Okay. Well, I would say that you're having a conflict with your feminine side, and your feminine is staying under wraps. The Harrison Ford figure is your feminine side of you, but you're keeping it under wraps. You then have basically a tussle an argument, or you're fighting, you're having a conflict with your feminine side, and you're angry, latecomers, then you go into, were there men and women in the other place you were going?
You know, that's a good question. I don't remember. It was
In
out
the
on
in the
streets.
crowd.
I don't know.
Okay, so in any case, you're having a struggle with your covered up feminine,
Right.
and so you're negotiating with that side of you. It comes back, it says, okay, well, we can do it, but you're still pissed and you want to hurt it. You want to do something nasty to that feminine part of you. Sticking it with the pin.
I see. And what about pulling back and not actually doing it? Does
Well-
that represent anything?
Well, you're holding, you're mad and you want to do something bad, but okay, so you're pulling back. You don't fully, next time stick it in all the way, see what happens. Don't pull back. Oh, I have hackings and slashings. We have everything going on in dreams. Oh, please, I've gutted people. It's great.
Well, on that funny note and happy note and revelatory note, the book is The Dream Class. This is Patricia Eltinge. The book is available on Amazon and through patriciaeltinge.com. So thank you very much for coming.
We thank you.